a special event, an exhibition contest. Please welcome in Kaisee Benjamin. And please welcome in Asinia Byfield.
Asinia Byfield, big day for him, announced that he'll be fighting for the British belt against Ted Cheeseman. He's come here to York Hall this evening. This an exhibition bout. Great chance for him to get his face in front of this adoring public, as that is an exciting bout on the cards against Cheeseman.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a special exhibition contest of 4 3-minute rounds featuring 2 young professionals. In the blue corner, we have Kaisee Benjamin, and in the red corner, we have the Southern Area champion and soon to be British title challenger, Asinia the Ghost Byfield. Our referee, Chaz Coakley, our timekeeper, Nick Knight. This is an exhibition contest of 4 3-minute rounds.
Well, Byfield against Benjamin. These exhibition bouts, I'm never entirely sure what we're going to get from these two.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously they're just showcasing their skills, but you're in there in front of people. Sometimes tempers can get out of control, but they're, you know, I know Byfield is a very experienced fighter. And I think he's just here to show off what he can do.
And it's an interesting one for him to take. Just, what are we, 10 weeks away from a British title shot. However, Kaisee Benjamin in those silver trunks with the black trim. Byfield in the blue trunks with the black trim. 4 3-minute rounds. And Byfield just showcasing that little bit of movement that he's got. Of course, McNess was the man that he beat for that Southern Area title. That was across East London at the Copperbox.
Yeah, that was an eventful evening in more ways than one.
Absolutely. Well, there was a lot of shenanigans outside the ring, but I think people really started to pay attention to him inside the ring after that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what they say, any publicity is good publicity, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And he was very underestimated in that fight, and he just, you know, he showed that he's definitely a contender on the British stage.
Well, he's got that title shot. And I think now that's been officially announced, it's going to really start to gather momentum as well. British fight fans are going to be excited about that one. It's one of those fights, 2 different styles, where a lot of people are going to have a lot of opinions.
Yeah, I mean, the big power punching, come forward, aggressive guy against a switch hitting, also power punching, elusive fighter. Definitely a great style matchup and a big fight for the UK.
I think within boxing circles, a lot of people are paying a lot of attention to Byfield. Made a lot of people's lists of fighters to look out for and most improved fighters in 2017. I suppose it's up to him to really take advantage of that hype now and make it stick.
Bit of slick movement from both guys in the ring. Both guys just showing off a bit of sharpness, a bit of moving.
I think Byfield there just falling short with that left hand. I think a warning for Benjamin as much as anything. He doesn't want to walk onto one of those in an exhibition. Round one down.
You know, there's no real venom in the shots from either guy at the moment. This is, like we said, it's just an opportunity to show the fans out there that this is what we can do, and potentially much more as well.
And of course, Kaisee Benjamin,
10
a
seconds.
lot less experienced than Byfield. I suppose an opportunity for him to go
Seconds
in with
out.
somebody
Round two.
of that kind of quality without the risk, to see the kind of movement that you're going to be dealing with.
That's right, that's right.
You know, if he makes a mistake here, it's not going to cost him, whereas he can leave the ring at the end of it and think, right, well, that's what I need to work on. If I do that, when I do come up against an opponent of that quality, then I'm going to be sat on my backside.
And also, you know, even though it isn't a fight, you're out here in front of the people. So it has its own little bit of pressure in that way, I guess. Asinia just showing his elusiveness.
There's Benjamin there, just coming in with a couple of jabs. Not entirely sure he'd be keeping his hands that low with it's not an exhibition.
Yeah.
And oh, there is that switch hitting. It's unorthodox watching Byfield, isn't it? But must be even more unorthodox if you're facing against him and you don't know
that
where those
movement
shots.
is just a complete nightmare to deal with when you're in there.
So were you there? You were there on that night at the Copperbox?
Yeah, I was, yeah. Yeah, it was a crazy night. And, well, there's not much to say, obviously. After the victory, it all went a little bit haywire in the crowd.
I suppose it's one of those things, isn't it, where fighters sell tickets, so they've got fervent supporters.
That's right, you know.
When the decision doesn't go, I say the decision.
All your fans and followers are also involved, you know.
Well, they're on the journey, aren't they?
That's right.
And I suppose that's one of the great things about these exhibitions is now all of these people here inside York Hall, they're on Asinia's journey. And I suppose for the non-purist, this would be quite a strange watch. However, well worth it for these two to get out under the lights. Saturday, the 20th of October, will be Byfield versus Ted Cheeseman.
Oh, has the date actually been agreed then?
It's been announced today. Mickey Helliet on his official social media outlets. The British Super Welterweight title venue not yet decided, but it will be in London.
Yeah, I mean, coming back to this this fight, this Styles bout, it's hard to imagine how these two fighters would obviously be behaving a little bit different in a real fight. So it's a good way to practice some moves and shots and combinations, but that real fire isn't there.
But it's a good chance for both fighters to try out, perhaps not some combinations, but
10
some movements
seconds.
and things that they work on in the gym.
Seconds out, round 3.
Because it's a different experience to sparring. I think they've got the 16 ounces on, but there's no head guards, there's no vests. There's a big crowd here. It's about as close to fight conditions as you could make it.
Yeah, most definitely.
Have you ever taken part in one of these yourself?
You're funny you should say that, but I did a bout like this with actually Asinia Byfield and another pro fighter called Thomas Jarvis, who's now actually retired and is going into coaching.
But if you're just tuning in, the voice you can hear that isn't mine is Konrad Stempkowski. It's alongside me for all the fights here at the Summer Brawl, the Hellraiser Summer Brawl here at York Hall. There are a couple of fighters later in the card that I'm sure he'll have a keen eye on. It's been great to get some expert insight.
Yeah, it's been a good evening of boxing so far. Now we have two fighters showing us some of their skills.
Well, if you are tuning into this one,
lovely bit of movement.
if you're tuning into this one as a fan of Asinia Byfield, then there are a few guys that have been on this card that perhaps it's worth checking out. Kaisee won his very first 10-rounder against Pablo Narvaez. He won that 98-94. Really classy operator in his first 10-round bout. And the punching preacher, Derek Asaze, he beat Harry Matthews on points. It was a unanimous decision, and he looked like he could go up a couple of gears as well. So we've had some real talent on this card so far. The crowd have enjoyed it. We've got a great crowd here at York Hall. And Asinia Byfield and Kaisee Benjamin.
That's it. These small hall shows, you can't really beat them for atmosphere.
Kaisee Benjamin just taking a couple of shots here. I think Byfield just looking to make sure that the crowd know that there is a difference in class between these two men.
I mean, there's no real venom in his shots, but he is just moving enough to make it difficult. Good bit of movement by both guys.
Well, 1 round remaining.
Ten seconds. Seconds out, 4th and last round.
Final round of this exhibition bout then. Asinia Byfield and Kaisee Benjamin. putting on a show here at York Hall. But at least they will when Asinia gets his laces tied up. Maybe he's feeling the pressure a bit and wants a little bit more time off.
I don't know. Did you see him dancing a minute ago?
No, that's true. He likes the tunes. Here we go then.
I mean, from what I know from Byfield, he's a guy that thrives under that pressure, and the more difficult it gets, the better he performs. So sometimes it makes you wonder that, like, you know, with something like this, where there isn't really that much pressure, it's, you know, hard to show his best side, really. Although he's showing some great movement there.
Sometimes people with that kind of attitude, they get better as the fights get harder.
That's right.
I think we've seen that a lot on this card already. There are fighters with big futures, but they're coming up against guys who just want to cover up. They don't want to engage, and as a result, they find difficult ways. It's difficult to finish those guys off. I think Byfield, well, he's answered any questions that have been asked of him, both inside and outside the ring.
Yeah, most definitely.
Very impressive individual. And he's well on the path to having a pretty decent career as well. Just the one professional defeat. 14 wins, 6 by way of stoppage. Of course, this bout, it's not scored. It's not going to go on either of their records.
It's basically like an open spar, isn't it, this?
Yeah, nice shop window. I think if there's anybody who's come to watch here at York Hall this evening and they're not aware of Asinia Byfield, I think they'll certainly be interested in the way he moves. And if you're entertained by this, which many people are, then wait till you see him box at 100%.
Different animal.
Animal being the operative word, I think. Just looking at the movement, it's so unorthodox. If you're an opponent, how on earth do you train to deal with that? How are you going to find sparring partners who can emulate that?
You need to, unless you train with him, I think it's going to be very hard to find other people like it. Maybe you could get 2 guys in the ring and... But nice little showcase from both guys, really.
Well, Kaisee Benjamin, certainly a lot earlier in his career, but now he's been out under the lights at York Hall. And then when he does get on a show here, there'll be people who are like, oh yeah, I remember that guy.
That's right.
And so much
building up the fan base slowly.
So much of it's about profile in this day and age.
Yeah.
Thank you to Kaisee and Asinia for that 4-round exhibition. A big hand for both boxers, please. And look out for Asinia fighting for the British Super Welterweight title in October against Ted Cheeseman. It will be live on Sky Sports. Hopefully Asinia will be top of the bill. He deserves it. Should be a fantastic contest. So that's Asinia v Ted Cheeseman for the British Super Welterweight title in October. And our thanks to Kaisee Benjamin.